sun is going down. We need to get back. This isn't just a race against the sun, a race against time. This is a race against the very devil himself. That wasn't me. That was Bram Stoker's Dracula. Great book if you get around to reading it. But it did get me thinking about belief and how powerful it is, and some of the things that we can actually believe isn't so far away. They can be so magnificent and so transcend this world. And they're not so far away as believing in vampires and werewolves, you know. And that's a fantastic thing. It's a fantastic thing we have within us, that we can transcend this world we're in. We can go into other worlds in our mind, just with not going anywhere, you know. And it's a very powerful thing, belief. You see it when with people who hold very, very strong conjectural beliefs about something. You know, certainly Orthodox religion and is one of them, and our culture is embedded into us. But you can smack people between the eyes with evidence or proof, and it doesn't matter, because all that really matters is what you believe, and that's amazing. I mean, it's quite really powerful that you will actually dismiss all kinds of evidence, and that is the power it has over us. But the thing is, it's prerequisite to our survival as well. It's something that we relied on, you know, in our formative years. That we had to, you know, that was all about imagination. It's how we learned. It's how we developed. You know, we needed our imagination. And you see children now, and it's fantastic to see them running around and just being themselves. There is no kind of they're not doing it for anybody else, and they're entrenched and they're engrossed in what they believe. They might believe they're Spider-Man or Batman, and they're just so involved in their head. They really believe it. They can see it, and it's good. And there's always that element of doubt where they're not going to throw themselves off the top of a building or anything like that. But you can see how much they are believing in what they're doing, and they can say the most embarrassing things in front of people, which is you laugh off because they're a child, you know, and it's only embarrassing because it's not socially acceptable. You know, you're not meant to say those things. So we start teaching children that actually not just what you think matters, but what other people think matters might be more important as well. And we learn that we can't say or do certain things in polite society, and we carry that through into our adulthood, and it dismisses that part of us who is very primitive, because we still have this very primitive side to us, you know, that is this animalistic side to us, and it's in conflict with what Freud called our superego, this very environment-based, moralistic side to our personality that makes us live a very sophisticated, ordered, you know, kind of coordinated, almost diplomatic life, and yet inside we've got all these feelings of either anger or, you know, these sexual drives that we kind of are suppressed and dismissed because we can't show them out in the open because it's not acceptable. Again, it's in what you see with old age. A lot of that is people can be returned to that childlike state, and when you see that, there's this feeling for them that they've lost that filter. So like a child, they will say the most outrageous or embarrassing things. Well, you know, but really what they are doing is voicing quite often a lot of what we are all thinking, and you know, it's just that they don't have that kind of control left to be able to not say it in an inappropriate environment. You know, it's and yet we live, you know, and we live by these controls, and you know, this inside of us is a kind of this primitive side which makes us think, oh, you know, this destructive side and this kind of prurient side we think about, and it's you know, I mean, it can cause this kind of conflict in our belief system, but it is the more it's suppressed, the more it's repressed, the more we can have a problem with it. And sometimes I look at theocracies like say places like Iran, or even homegrown terrorism here, where they have to live their lives by such rigidity, you know. I mean, this kind of and buying into servitude, this kind of to something that doesn't present itself to you, so we make it in a way that you really want it to, but we have to live our lives so narrowly that in the end it is the madness of frustration, so they go out and anything is better, anything, suicide bombers, anything is better than living within these walls that are confining them so narrowly, and so creativity there is a part of very much a part of imagination and who they are, and it's so stymied, it's so pushed down that actually anything is better. And the thing is with it as well, though, you've got this idea that we all have underlying beliefs, even though when we don't think we do. We put a lot of emphasis, say, on symbolic things. We're the only species that actually project significance on symbolism. I mean, another country burning another country's flag is tantamount to war. We would go to war because someone has burnt a piece of material. But it's what that piece of material represents. It might not represent anything to some people. To others, it has such magnitudinal repercussions. It's the most biggest grievance you could ever do. But I mean, so we've got that symbolic thing. I mean, money is a massive. I mean, there's a bit of paper, and yet globally we've put a huge importance on this bit of paper, and it's become the conduit between one person and another. And it's almost the Western world is dictated by that. And we all have this low level belief going on with fate. If something goes wrong for us, we might say, oh well, it was meant to be, or that was fate, or whatever. Surprisingly, that it's when it's a success of ours, we like to take full credit for it, nothing to do with fate. But that is the thing, because we like to think we're free, and yet we also like to think we're in control, and the two are almost antithetical to each other. So we like to think we have control over our own destiny and those close to us. And we don't like to think that actually it's all just so random, and we have no more control than anything or anybody else. And that kind of in our subconscious, we don't like that. And I say again, we build our lives so it's very constructive. So we're not faced with that kind of brand new challenge every day of our lives. We're not presented with us, because that can be a bit, can make us feel nervous. And it's a kind of thing, even with coincidences. Coincidences is a great word for coincidences. It's called apophenia. And apophenia is when you kind of two random events might happen, and you would connect the two, even though there is no connection. But you would make some kind of causal link, which imbues meaning on it where there is no meaning at all. So, and none of us are immune to it, even on a simplistic level. You might hear a loud bang, let's say, and then at the same time a street lamp goes out. Now, there is no link there, but you can't help but wonder, maybe that has something to do with that. You don't dwell on it, of course, but say if the telephone phone in a phone box rang and you answered it and it was for you, that might be, you might think that's too much of a coincidence, that was spooky. But in fact, they say there's far more chance of that happening than you winning the lottery. So, and people win the lottery, so. But yeah, it's just amazing how we will do that, and it's and I think one good thing that our minds aren't infallible. We like